Hey everybody, Motorpoet59 here. Something here in California that's been in the news again for the last few weeks is the California high-speed rail. I've made videos about this before. And on my other channel over at Mark Clay McGowan, I'm actually going to do something hopefully real soon, a comprehensive video where I go all the way up the valley from the grading has stopped north of a town called Shafter, about 15 miles north of town, and is right now stopped on the other side of Merced, which is about 120 miles north of here. It's nowhere near being completed. If you don't live in California and you haven't heard about the Boondoggle, that is the California high-speed rail, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But in the news, a few weeks ago, the California High-Speed Rail Authority is, I can't remember if they said they were requesting or if they were just sending out, notifying them that to complete it, because it's supposed to go from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Actually, it would have went from Los Angeles to about San Jose. It wasn't actually going to go into San Francisco. A lot of people, I've seen maps that showed it doing there, but when I spoke to the people at the California High-Speed Rail Authority personally, they said it was only going to go to the lower Bay Area and then branch out from there using ACE and BART and whatnot. But nonetheless, it was going to, the original outlay, I believe, was $11 billion. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they've already spent about that. And as I said, they've only graded 120 miles of it. They haven't laid one piece of rail, one piece of if they're going to electrify it from the top catenary. They haven't built any power stations to use to power this, and they're saying that to complete it, back to my point, sorry, I'm getting off track again, no pun intended, another $100 billion to complete the job from Los Angeles to the Bay Area. Let's talk about two of the problems, I should say one of the problems, is going to be getting from Los Angeles into the San Joaquin Valley. They can't go over what we call the Grapevine, straight over the I-5 corridor, following that route from Los Angeles over the Grapevine down into Bakersfield. The grades are too steep. Santa Fe Railroad back in the early 1900s surveyed a route across that, and the tunnels for a freight road, there were, I can't remember how many tunnels. I just remember one of them was going to be 17,500 feet long, and it was going to be about where Pyramid Lake is now. It was going to go through a place called Piru Gorge. For the high-speed rail to use something like that over the Grapevine, they would pretty much have to do something like the Gotthard Tunnel in Europe that is 20 miles long. 20-mile tunnel might do it. Might get them from LA to Bakersfield without too much grade. But doing something like that would cost $100 billion itself, probably. So their plan is to go up through Soledad Canyon, following the old original Southern Pacific, Southern Transcontinental route that went out through the high desert and dropped down into Soledad. Let's go from Los Angeles north. Place called Saugus. The road would turn compass east and go up through Soledad Canyon to the high desert to Palmdale. Soledad Canyon, the track there that is there now is what Metrolink uses. Southern Pacific sold Metrolink that line in 1994 after the Northridge earthquake. And the freight railroads, except for a few trains a week they run that way, all run out now from Palmdale across the desert down Cajon Pass into West Colton. But Soledad Canyon is steep and curvy. It's there are places just like Tehachapi. It's a steep grade going right up a canyon, and there's no way that you're going to get high speed over that. You may get higher speed than Metrolink. I don't know what their speed limit. You know what? Which is, I just looked it up for a little break here. I looked it up in the Metrolink timetable that I have a copy of. And that is, there are parts of that are well over 2%, 2.5%. So it is pretty much just like Tehachapi. And as I said, curvy. They're not going to be able to go fast, and they're going to turn out and go north through the Antelope Valley, Palmdale up to Mojave. Yeah, they can go 100 miles, 200 miles an hour there, but then they're going to get to up above Mojave, and they're going to have to turn and go up to Tehachapi through the Cache Creek Narrows, across the Tehachapi Valley, and down the Tehachapi grade into Bakersfield, and that is where the famous Tehachapi Loop is. And Southern Pacific, or Union Pacific, and BNSF have both declined to allow the CHSR to occupy their right-of-way. Well, BNSF doesn't own it, but Union Pacific owns it. They don't want anything to do with that. They don't want that cluttering up their freight line. They don't want the construction on their right-of-way cluttering up the freight line and interfering with their operations in any way. So the plan that I saw anyway was for the high-speed rail to use the other side of the canyon out of Tehachapi and go down the north side, which there was a survey done, one of the original surveys that they did in 1873 and 74 for the Tehachapi line included that, but it was going to include many trestles and many more tunnels than exist right now, and was going to take a long time and cost a lot of money. So they decided to take the route that they have now. And on the north side of the canyon, coming down through there, all of that used to be the Loop Ranch up there was sold to a nature conservancy. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. It's a name of a couple. But it's unlikely that the nature conservancy is going to allow any railroad to come on through the Nature Conservancy. There's a reason that they bought that, so it could never be developed, and there could never be any more construction done on it. They are continuing to allow ranching to be done on it, but only as it exists right now. They can't expand anything. Eminent domain in California is not going to work where this is concerned, because this is about wildlife. This isn't about orchards or things like that, like the eminent domain lawsuits filed up the valley. Now you've got the environmentalists involved, and we all know how powerful their lobby is. California high-speed rail is doomed, and they want another $100 billion. This is also the California high-speed rail. If you don't live in California, you're paying for it anyway, because the federal government has given the California High-Speed Rail Authority around $10 billion, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was at least $8 billion. Donald Trump rescinded that and told them, if you guys aren't going to finish this, we're not going to give you the money. The Biden administration, one of the first things they did, said, oh, here's your money back. You can have your money back. So, yeah, there you go. Go figure. It's an absolute mess. The last piece of news that I saw about it was, I kept seeing these little things, one step closer to completion, one step closer to reality. And that little news blurb situation was about the train, and there is no train in existence to operate on the high-speed rail. The last I heard, because they weren't going to be able to plug this into the grid. I wish I were a cartoonist. I'd draw the high-speed rail going through the valley with extension cords off the tracks plugged into garages along the way, because there's no power. This isn't going to work on California's power grid. We have rolling blackouts as it is. They tell everybody, go buy an electric car, go buy an electric car. Then they tell people, you can't charge your electric cars during peak hours between 4 in the afternoon and 9 at night. It's like, it's ridiculous. We don't have the power to power a high-speed rail, so what are they going to do? They're going to use diesels, the ones that the Amtrak's use right now, that are capable of about 120, 130 miles an hour, but they're still burning fossil fuel, and they still got smoke coming out of them, and they're still pissing off the environmentalists. So this train that they showed Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he was the governor when he's the one who signed this into law, and that train was never built. And the one that they're supposed to build for it looks nothing like the one that they showed him in 2008. But so now they have signed an agreement with this railroad, or this company that's going to build this train, and I believe it's in Germany. I know it's in Europe. And so they've signed this agreement with them, one of those, hey, will you build this for us if we come up with the money? It has nothing to do with, hey, go ahead and build this train, we're ready to use it. Like I said, not one piece of rail has been laid anywhere on this California high-speed rail, and they've been working on it since 2010. I think, is when they broke ground on the grading. It may have been a few years later than that, but it doesn't matter. In all these years, in this decade, nothing's happened. Nothing. They're building a lot of bridges. You'll see it in the other video that I do. I'll put it on this channel too. But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Californians aren't going to give up their cars, and it's always going to be faster and cheaper to fly from Los Angeles to the Bay Area. Get on a plane in LA, fly up there, land in the Bay Area, in San Francisco at the airport, 2 hours later. It's crazy that people just don't grasp this. Jerry Brown actually was going to sign a law that would put a tax on airline tickets from Los Angeles to San Francisco, where if you wanted to fly, the tickets were going to tax on them was going to be double. And he didn't get away with it. That even the Democrats didn't go for that. I think high-speed rail is a great thing. I think it's a great idea. I think it's fantastic. The technology is fascinating. I just don't think it's a good thing for California right now. I don't know. What do you think? You know anything about California high-speed rail? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? You live somewhere else and not know anything about it and kind of surprised by how much this is costing and how long it's taking? Let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motorport59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content. We'll see you all later.